Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Director, please, I'd like to direct your attention to this video.
And I sincerely appreciate the clarity on this.
Can we turn up the volume, staff?
I want to ask you, because this has popped up. Republican Congressman Mike Walz, he said on social media on Saturday, and I'm going to read this for you because it does talk about you, Secretary. I have very reliable sources telling me that there have been repeated requests for stronger Secret Service protection for President Trump denied by Secretary Mayorkas. Your department has already pushed back on that, calling that absolutely false, but he is putting this on you. Can you respond to that, please?
Well, that is, yeah, that's a.
So it's not allegedly according to this, so far, it's saying that it's on him versus the FBI director, who, Kimberly Cheadle. Well, because remember when they were saying that she was the one that was talking about it, allegedly, the director, Cheadle, was saying, they were saying that she was not putting enough, detail on him. Okay. And even on Biden, and they mentioned even Obama. Okay. So that's why they had outside other security guards or police presence there versus all FBI and I guess higher level FBI, whatever. So it's interesting now that we're hearing that Mayorkas is the one that allegedly, based on what they're saying here, could have been over it. Okay, I just wanted to say that. So
he the one could have let less security be around Trump at that event?
That's what they just spread. It sounds like
A baseless and irresponsible statement. A baseless and irresponsible statement, and is one that is unequivocally false.
Director Cheadle, did you speak with your boss, Secretary Mayorkas? You fall under DHS. Did you speak with him on the 14th, the day after?
Yes, I did.
So you spoke with him before he made that statement?
I spoke with him immediately following the incident.
Did you inform him that all requests for additional resources for President Trump had been fulfilled? Or that it was false to say they had been denied?
I informed him that the request for that rally that day had been fulfilled.
Okay, you continue to answer that very carefully, because I made a broader statement. The agents that came to me made a broader statement that his permanent protective detail for years now have been asking for more. Is that correct?
I do not have specific incidents of those requests.
Is it correct that they've been asking for more?
I have heard the same reports that you have. Without having them in front of me, I am unable.
Those requests are made in writing. I mean, the agents are telling me they make them in writing. This isn't a verbal agency. Things are made in writing.
I understand what you're saying. I don't have those requests in front of me here. I'm
not asking if you have them in front of you. Are you aware that they were made?
As I said earlier, there are times when requests are made, and depending on the availability of assets, or if there is a way that
So there were times when they were denied?
If there is a way that vulnerability can be mitigated in a different way, then that is why
So there are times when they were denied, for a variety of reasons.
That is why the Secret Service has a multi-layered and multifaceted security plan, so that we can pivot if we need to.
So in the wake, in the immediate 48 hours of an assassination attempt on a former president, could be the next leader of the free world, almost had his head blown off, your boss says that's irresponsible and false to say things are denied. And you had talked to him. So did he just make that up on his own, or did you tell him that?
We were speaking about the requests made at the rally.
Staff, can we show the next slide, please? Then we have your spokesman. Did you sign off on this statement? That there's an assertion that a member of the former president's team requested additional security resources and those were rebuffed. This is absolutely false. In fact, we added protective resources and technology and capability as part of the increased campaign travel tempo. But next slide, please. Next slide, please, staff. We have the Washington Post article that then says we now have senior Secret Service officials saying there were at times when it was denied. So which is it?
Again, there have been a number of conversations going on here.
Did you sign off on that spokesman's statement?
The spokesman's statement, I believe, was related to requests that were made.
Did you sign off on it?
For the requests that were made at the rally.
Did you
Yes.
sign off on the statement before it went out? I sign off on my press spokesman's statement before they go out. I would hope you would in the wake of an assassination attempt.
Yes.
You did. Categorically false that any requests were made. You signed off on it. Thank you for that. Thank you for that clarity. Madam Director, how many press conferences have you held since the assassination attempt?
We have put out press releases.
How many press conferences have you held? Gone to the mic, taken questions from the public, from the media? How many?
I have not held any.
How many has Secretary Mayorkas held?
I don't.
0. How many has the FBI held? 0. How many has the Department of Justice held? I know you know the answer.
I believe there was a press conference in Butler after the incident occurred.
By local law enforcement, not by you and not by the Department of Homeland Security. So this is how misinformation flies. I mean, in the darkness, in the absence of information. Now we have 9 days later before a congressional committee, we all represent almost 1 million people, and you still don't have answers. Are you aware that national news anchors are saying this was a hoax? On national television, they're saying, no, the president wasn't shot, it was flying glass. Are you aware of that?
I have not heard those reports.
Are you aware that, I mean, there are rumors rampant online that there were multiple shooters?
Yes.
Are you aware that because the shooter had overseas encrypted platforms in Belgium and New Zealand and in Germany, that a lot of people are speculating there could have been foreign involvement, logically? Are you aware of that?
Yes.
And have you done anything to disabuse any of these notions today? No. You haven't. Madam Director, I would fire you. Regardless of the failure, I would fire you just how you've handled it since. You should have been the first to the mics to say, America, world, I want to assure you we're going to get to the bottom of this. I want to assure you full transparency. Our agency clearly had major gaps here, and I want to personally take responsibility and accountability. You should have been the first, standing alongside Secretary Mayorkas, and I would even go so far as to say have daily press conferences, updating everyone on what we know. But you haven't had any of that. What are you hiding behind?
I am not hiding.
Because you're making the situation worse. I think you've heard that on a bipartisan basis here. You are making this situation far worse in the absence of information. Let's move on. This is truly astounding. I want to be clear because you keep dodging the issue. Has President Trump's permanent protective detail requested additional assets over the last few years? He is clearly not your average former president. He's not Jimmy Carter in an old folks home. He's not President Bush painting out in his barn. He has multiple residences, a lot of rallies. He's very publicly engaged, and he has a foreign threat in addition to domestic threats. Have they requested additional resources?
That's the last question, but please feel free to.
Thank you.
Director.
We have continued, as I stated earlier, to increase over the past year the assets that are at the former president's residence and supplied to his detail.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just ask for one more indulgence. It is clear you have not been to Butler, Pennsylvania. Leaders lead and should be on the ground. You have not been there. Instead, you went to the RNC, but you weren't originally even going to go there. Where were you originally scheduled to go besides the RNC, a national special security event?
I was always scheduled to go to the RNC.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to enter into the record that the director was scheduled to go to Aspen, hobnobbing around with, I don't know what liberal elites go to Aspen. That was where you were originally scheduled to go to speak at a forum.
I was scheduled to go to the RNC. I was going to leave the RNC for 24 hours and return back to the RNC.
I hope, as your predecessor, Julie Pearson, with a security incident on the White House and under the Obama administration and Reagan's Secret Service detail lead, I would hope you would have the dignity for the sake of the agents in the service to resign.
Gentleman signs.
Wow. Okay.
So
I got lots to say.
They
he went in, as he should. He made it very clear, all of the failures that she, and I like the fact, all the failures that she did, plus not even making one press conference, not even one appearance. He said, you ain't even doing not one.
Yeah, and that's super suspicious. If you're not making press conferences, you're not sending memos, have an update, that makes it seem like you feel so bad for what happened that you are playing the background because you really don't want you. She probably knew in the future that her job was going to be compromised because of this. But I wonder if this is still the result of deep state. Is this still deep state time?
I don't know, but
because she said she was about to go to RNC conference.
RNC.
So she's a Republican.
I don't know. You got to be Republican to go, of course. She was just going. But he said she was scheduled to go to some place where some elite liberals go.
Aspen.
So it's, to me, to show remorse or even some type of empathy towards the situation and just to set the record straight for clear, like he said, as a leader, at least one press conference to answer questions from news reporters, other people, help the public want to know. Nothing. How long did she think she was going to actually be able to be in the background before she got pulled to the forefront of the legislature? I mean, come on, of the House.
What was wild to me is, because you know how a former president, you always going to have security detail. It might not be a whole gripe or like a whole mass amount of people. I think you may have one or two security detail throughout the rest of your life. But they were like, why didn't y'all have an unlimited amount? Y'all should have had so many amount around an active president. It says it's not George Bush painting.
Right. And she still never responded to the question he asked.
If we could be a fly on the wall for the conversations that led up to certain things, I guarantee you it would blow our ears off what we saw was doing. These people are aware of what's going on. You think they would have done that for Obama? You think they would have been slipping and sliding with Obama? No.
But it was alleged that he also didn't have as much security detail as well. It was they said even on President Biden, it was limited resources at times.
Really?
So,
okay.
But even more so, he was saying, you still really can't even compare Trump to them because he is in another exactly. Yeah, this is a billionaire plus everybody previous president plus. You know what I'm saying?
Plus people they don't like him.
So you have misallocated resources, and then just to not even to be humble and show any type of tact or class or professionalism or leadership skills or any of that. She failed in that. So I'm glad that she's stepping down. And I eventually felt like it was going to happen anyway. I just didn't see how she was going to be able to maintain her position and all of these things. The more and more the research, the reporters are doing the research and more information is coming out, is still pointing back to the failure of her as a department head leader not doing thoroughly what she should have been done.
So is it failure or is it possible bigger powers that be?
Well, the Mayorkas, whatever his role is, he may have some responsibility in it as well, but he's trying to pitch the fork to her.
Okay.
But at some point, when do you step up in a leadership role and say, hey, well, I'm going to go ahead and push and do this anyway, because I know this man is going to this da-da-da-da, even if you don't like the person, but if you don't like the person, that means, are you going to really do your job well?
Right.
So I was wondering if this was going to come back, and it has. And I just kind of felt like it would eventually. I just didn't see how she was going to stay in that leadership role.
Well,
and you ain't even making an appearance.
I haven't really been attached to this particular topic, what's been going on, because there's so many other things that have been going on. So I don't know what was going on with this case with this lady. But okay.
Yep. So guys, what do you think in the comment section? Do you think it's justice has been served? Or do you think it's someone else should take the responsibility for the failure, what happened to President Trump in Pennsylvania? I think it's the start.
Yeah.
well, let's see how far the rabbit hole goes.
Now, that's what I'm curious to know. If they find this and they find this, and then you unlock some data that would change the mindset of the people. So, okay. 2024 be more.
Talk less.
We'll see you on the next one.
Love you guys.
Bye.